The name of that town is Silent Hill. Although it is known as a scenic resort area, it is a cursed place where the town's former inhabitants were once driven away, brutal executions were once carried out, and a mysterious plague was once prevalent. The town is centered around Toluca Lake, from which a thick fog perpetually enshrouds the area and makes a separate reality involving dreams or nightmares for those who visit the town. And according to those who have seen them, there are also times when things should not naturally appear or exist whatsoever. Silent Hill was prominent with a strange occult activity well before European colonizers took the land. Ancient Indians originally inhabited this land, claiming it was a land that was unwillingly stolen from them. The term that they coined for the sacred ground was known as the place of silent spirits. These spirits did not revolve around dead Native Americans exclusively. The natives also believed that these spirits also inhabited the trees, rocks, forests, and water around them. An untold number of holy ceremonies took place based on teachings, religion, and respecting fallen souls on the battlefield. Jennifer Carroll was one of the first few people who were burnt at the stake for her radical and puritanical beliefs. Carroll was cited as the first elder to the group known as the Order. The Order is a radicalized cult that plays into future events much later in the timeline. A raven often symbolized the place for silent spirits. Older historians believe that recording these events were ideal for change. The tip of a raven's feather served as an unapologetic history, thoroughly rewriting events for the past and future just to gain some dominion in the process. Native settlers called this the nest of the raven. This might explain why save points within the game feel more significant than humanly possible. This call, this plea for unfortunate circumstance will burrow throughout the mind, creating an undying desire to document these repressed feelings so that they could assist the next unfortunate victim within Silent Hill. During the 18th century, we realized that Silent Hill was plagued with an epidemic that nearly destroyed its entire population. It is assumed that any remaining European settlers were spooked on this process. Therefore, the town of Silent Hill was fully abandoned for the first time in history. Later on, society thought that repopulating the area was a good construct. This is where Silent Hill officially earned its stripes as a prevalent nickname. This was seen as the foundation for many historical landmarks within the area: Brookhaven Hospital, Toluca Prison, Shepherd's Glen, etc. The hospital's creation was made to combat a secondary plague. This proved that the new settlers really learned nothing from prior abandonment, but they planned on fighting back regardless. The Wilties coal mine began as a major operation when Silent Hill Prison was closed, causing significant budget cuts to the miners at hand. While the operation only led to coal deposits being heavily consumed, it caused a shakeup within the settlers, ending the coal mine run, and the prison apparently was shut down as well. This created an epiphany that crackled through time as Silent Hill molded more into a tourist resort, bred from failure and bred from the supernatural. Another prison rose from the ashes called Toluca Prison. It's a key footnote in history, but worth mentioning considering the encampment was full of POWs, enslaved, starving, and close to heaven within those prison walls. It became a memorable footprint for the town itself. The place of Silent Hill is used to be a place of execution, away from cities. Heinous criminals are transferred to this place and get and executed. Thus, all village people are executioners or family of executioners. Executioners are needed to wear a mask at all times at an event, so they do not directly witness their spear when it was piercing through flesh. Time has passed, only memory of execution still lingers on. It's very easy to see that what the old gods saw as punishment started formulating right here. The Silent Hill Historical Society was built on the broken bones of Toluca Prison, preserving dark memories from the past as reinvention took hold. There was a huge uptick with more occult activity in the area. The Order supposedly began causing havoc, leaving behind sigils in their wake. We can see that the Order wants to do anything to A, appease their gods, and B, they want complete control and manipulation for the powers that embark upon Silent Hill. The neighborhood started formulating more, but trouble was still on the horizon. Citizens began complaining about flesh-ridden creatures within the area, sulking, lingering, and stalking their prey until the end. Such mysterious nature actually stopped the second coal mine operation in a different area, suspending operation indefinitely as natives scratched their head in complete confusion. The most notable incident involved a freight ship called the Little Baroness. It was infamously known as a cruise ship that mysteriously disappeared across Toluca Lake. A newspaper article from back then simply says, "It most likely sunk for some reason." Despite an extensive police search, not a single fragment of the ship, nor any of the 14 bodies of the passengers or crew has ever been recovered to this very day. This gave Silent Hill a reputation that was tarnished over time. Once you visit that special place, there was no coming back. Toluca Lake harbored itself as an urban legend. People say that if you try to go out on Toluca Lake at midnight, your engine will die and you'll be stranded until morning. A prolific series of boating accidents or drownings occurred right here, right now. Even a thunderstorm struck a school bus within this area. They say that the lake is a burial ground for those who died from the original plague. Truly, many corpses rest in their watery grave. Their bony hands reach towards the boats that pass overhead, perhaps reaching for their comrades. The key to the door is a separate reality within Silent Hill. It's a place where memories, nightmares, and dreams are all shattered in the rearview mirror. The natives are well aware of this dark, twisted manipulation. Bitter irony struck with the later colonists who died from this extreme plague. Silent Hill has an ability to twist perception completely based on the projected darkness of the heart or mind. This explains why Alyssa Gillespie was able to easily covet the town in fog after her immense ritual. The characters start questioning what brought them there in the first place. Usually this is an unknown factor, or there's an ulterior motive that remains unseen, or it might be impossible on paper. Let's take the case of James Sunderland's wife. She's been logically dead for years. However, the town called to James through a letter that Mary wrote recently. James finds this completely crazy, yet he still goes on this journey because his true calling is facing punishment and perhaps overcoming adversity so he could learn from prior sins. This strange phenomenon is called the full circle, as the town blocks off the user from any means of escape. This is naturally seen when the roads of the town are blocked off the map for Silent Hill. Big glaring sinkholes will formulate across the main street, meaning that going back is an impossibility. It is theorized that the old gods for Silent Hill are the people who died centuries beforehand, and venerating them will grant them power. This makes sense if spirits have ascended well beyond the dead at this point. If mistakes are made, then the cycle continues in the worst possible way. Not learning your lesson in Silent Hill could also be easily heavily illustrated, just like the Maria ending clearly shows us. James picking up this new vessel to continue his life shows selfishness, and it means that he will be in limbo forever with the memory of Mary on his back. The creatures in Silent Hill could also formulate from dreams or trauma depending on the circumstance. Alyssa's drawings from her interpretation on children's books created a large bulk of creatures in Silent Hill. When James received this letter, most of the creatures come from his personal sorrow. It leads down a pipeline involving depravity, loss, sexual frustration, etc. The latter is clearly seen when the bobblehead nurse has an undone top, signaling the things that James wanted as Mary laid on her deathbed in the hospital. This town is mostly structured on three planes of existence: a world where everything is normal, a world shrouded by fog, and the other world. The normal world is a nice functioning society that you see daily, day-to-day life. Business is brimming, the sun is beautiful, and then some. Laura popped this question for James in the second game, signaling that the creatures in the normal world don't look like that in her imagination. She isn't afraid of them, which signifies that they could be normal individuals under the hood. A person with potential pure heart can enjoy the normality behind Silent Hill. The Fog World is a paranormal incursion that blankets the town in a shady mist. This is where normal things cease to be and a new nightmare is created. Usually a loud siren screams throughout the town whenever a transition through worlds happen. It's a vivid phenomenon that requires the right circumstance to initiate. Time stands still between close and distant imagination. Monsters usually plague the streets throughout the entire projected event. Alyssa Gillespie apparently manifested more darkness and depravity as time went on, making the town stronger. You really can't see 6 feet in front of you for this fog, and as I mentioned before, all roads lead to nowhere. The other world can be equated to a deeper darkness within transition. It is the reverse side of the equation, a plane of existence that delights itself on some final unreality. Everything in this place is rustled to the brim. Dark cage floors and constructs take hold as dirty rainwater seeps across the environment. The other world could be represented as a personal purgatory where the worst fears are realized for the individual, whether it's reminding them of past sins, judgment, and trauma that they have endured or personally faced within their lives. Each purgatory is different for the individual in question. There might be creatures that are vividly worse in description, since the abstract daddy looked more menacing in Angela's world, for example. Everyone sees different things, but they all share the same common thread: trauma, and trauma absolute. Guilt, regret, and never-ending suffering is what the old gods feed upon. This is when reality is twisted at its absolute worst, which embarks on the most rundown, beaten-up affairs within the environment. There is folklore that embarks on otherworldly beliefs like Celtic mythology. The other world can be seen as a realm for deities and the dead. This makes sense because Lisa Garland is dead. She only knows this in the other world and only realizes it here as she stumbles upon Harry's direction. In conclusion, Silent Hill is a place where nightmarish delusions are finally brought to life. Those who were crossed with a massive injustice might find the exact power, the exact vengeance that they were looking for all along, because this is what the old gods really want. And that is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, tuning in. Once again, I really enjoy doing lore perspectives for you guys so you can analyze and have basic understandings as to what the hell is going on in the timelines. Hopefully I broke it down for you well. Hopefully it's well understood, and tell me what you thought about the lore of Silent Hill's town below in the comment section. Leave a like if you really enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. Check out my description below with all my Discord servers and links and social media outlets. You can check me out there. I will see you guys next time. I'm Renegade Operative. I'm signing off, and once again, take care. Don't get lost in the fog.